Welcome to Football or Soccer, the podcast. I'm Sam Palmer. We have Sam Collins and Tony Tafe with us.
Good morning, everybody.
Via satellite. How are we all?
We're very well. How are you doing?
Happy 4th of July, everyone.
Absolutely.
As we say a couple of days later. We've just been on the back of a long weekend here. So what did you boys get up to?
Down in Laguna, which was very nice.
Oh, lovely. That's where I just went as well a week ago. It's so nice down there, isn't it?
Beautiful part of the world.
What did you do down there?
Just chilled, relaxing, beautiful weather, nice meals, walking on the beach, relaxing by the pool. Hotel was very nice. I mean, I love it down there. It's so clean, it's so tidy. It's
different to LA, isn't it? It's funny because if you not from LA, in LA you can't actually go in the water, but in Laguna and Newport you can actually go in. The water's actually quite nice there, isn't it? The beaches are much nicer.
It wasn't too bad. I mean, to be fair, on July 4th, they had a massive swell come in, and it was actually pretty funny because everyone's like relaxing on the beach. Then all of a sudden, this massive wave just came in and took everybody out.
Exactly the same when I was there.
Soaked everybody's stuff. It was pretty funny.
It was weird when I was there. It was kind of it was calm. Then this swell come in and a big riptide, and then was ripping people out and everything, and everyone had to get out of the water, then back in, then out, and it was really funny.
Those riptides are terrifying, by the way.
Yeah,
it was
terrifying.
I grabbed a kid when I was there. I literally grabbed a kid who got swept away. I literally grabbed him, and his dad went, "Thanks so much." But I went, "I'm so sorry for grabbing your kid, mate." He went, "No, thank you for doing it." He's like,
so sorry.
His little kid was like dragging along.
A beautiful part of the world. Would highly recommend it. And then,
do you know what? I always like Orange County in general on the coast. I think it's the nicest part in the whole country.
It's amazing.
I don't disagree. It's like a little holiday town, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
it's a bit similar to Cornwall in effect, in to giving it a.
I don't know how I'd say Cornwall, but I get the premise.
Cornwall. Oh, okay, yeah.
I love Cornwall and Devon. I used to always have holidays there as a kid.
Devon's nice. I don't mind it. I know what you mean. It's like that. Do you know what the nice thing about it was like you go down to Laguna and there's no chains of anything down there. It's all just independent run restaurants and shops and cafes and.
It is nice.
McDonald's, there's no Taco Bell, there's no.
Yeah, there's not. Is there? They're not everywhere.
They ban them. I was talking to a guy, one of the valets at the hotel about it because we were getting them to drop us around with the house car and stuff. And I said to him, I was like, it's nice that there are no chains. And he's like, yeah, that's actually part of Laguna. That they don't allow them here. The only chains that they've got there are Ralph's and Whole Foods, and that's it.
Really?
Wow. Everything else has to be like little independent or family run or like mum and pop shop, and like
that's cool.
Very, very nice. So they've kind of kept the
authenticity.
Exactly.
I will say this though, Sam. I'm pretty sure I've had the Chipotle in Laguna.
No. They are there, but they're not on the main stretch.
They're not in the town. They're not in the town center. I mean, like it was. Yeah, I mean, it was beautiful. I would highly recommend it.
It's amazing.
What did you get up to, Tone?
We had some family come in, mate. Liz's parents come in. Her nephew and his girlfriend came in, and we just got sunburned.
We spent the whole day in the garden as well. I'll tell you what, I played football in my garden for probably 3 hours the other day with the kids. We had a crossbar challenge, right, where we had like 2 against 2, and my son James never lost once. Right, it was unbelievable. Whoever was with him won. He was incredible at it. Like, and we were trying to beat him as well. Like, it wasn't like we was going off. Sonny was here, mate Tundi was here with all their kids. But we had such a lot. We played it for about 3 hours to the point of my leg the next day was so sore. Actually, my standing leg even worse, like the knee at my left knee. So I was hobbling about all thingy. But good weekend. The weather here was lovely. Moving on, I think. We're going to go on to our current affairs issue. The biggest current affair for me, which Petra is literally getting so bored of right now, is Oasis are officially back.
Is that because you took over their closet with all your fucking Oasis Adidas stuff that you ordered?
I've literally took over. She said to me yesterday, she went, "Are you autistic?" She said, "All you do is look at the same songs over and over again, the same videos." I was like, "Have you seen how good it is?" But I know a few people that went. And one thing, Tone, you're a big Oasis fan, Sam.
Love it.
Yeah, like me and Tone are going to New York to watch them. But the one thing that I was really surprised at, and I know they had the roof shut in Cardiff, but the sound, I thought they sounded insane.
They did, yeah.
To the point of, I thought it was a recording. Like Liam's voice sounded insane.
It did, and I've seen them in I never got to see Oasis as a band. Remember when we were at VSAM and the pricks cancelled on us?
Yeah.
The morning of the show?
Yeah.
And we all walked down to the main stage and there were signs there saying Oasis have cancelled. And we all thought it was a joke. Yeah, we all thought it was a joke.
Yeah, I remember it well.
Snow Patrol ended up headlining. But anyway, I've never seen them live as a band.
Oh, you've never seen them live? I've seen them live I reckon I've seen them nine times.
But I've seen them individually. I've seen Noel Gallagher in LA and a couple of times in LA, actually. And then I've
never actually seen them individually.
I've seen them both individually. And they Noel's voice is not like as taxing, I don't think, as what Liam Gallagher's must be, because the way he sings it's 1,000 miles an hour.
He's an amazing singer.
No, but it's so unique.
Goes with that guitar unbelievably.
Yeah, but anyway, I've seen them both individually. They sounded fine, but when I saw that Cardiff one, I was like, wow.
Do you know what I was thinking about the other day, right? And I think it's amazing that Oasis is back. I actually think it's what England needs right now, like to bring people back together and things like that. I think it's great for the country. It feels very Euro 96 in England with it at the moment. But do you know what I was thinking? Oasis are pretty much the greatest. If you could draw your greatest football team of all time, Oasis pretty much, they are a football team. If you think their songs are anthems, they have very distinctive uniform within Adidas, Stone Island, CP Company, like the fans, the bucket hats, things like that. Their attitude is, they're very football Oasis. They were born out of football.
It was like, it's
the movement's like a football team.
They're the musical, it's for our era anyway, because I know before us there was bands like The Jam and stuff like that did it. But for our era, Oasis are the football terrace band, aren't they?
Yes, 100%.
That's what
I never really looked at it before. And like, obviously, they're big on the 90s fashion and things like that. But like, when I think of like West Ham, they're very, I don't know if Liverpool and Chelsea are, but the casuals, they still wear the Stone Island, they still wear the Fila, they still wear the Sergio, the Adidas trainers are always on the feet. Like it's always been that way. Like the casual, they call it the casuals, don't they? But I look at Oasis and I think like Noel's almost the manager, you know, like he's almost your Alex Ferguson, that type of niggly manager. Liam's your big loud front man, almost your Cantona.
He's your 35 goal a year centre forward.
Like he's funny, and Oasis are like they're very male dominant crowd as well. Like it's like I know there's a lot of women there, but men love them.
Yeah.
There's not many bands I can remember where it's like men love going, you know, like the football almost.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember being obviously in Liverpool as well, but especially when I moved down to London with you lot, Sam, and being in like those pubs with a lock in. And it's, you know, because pubs back then, I think they were supposed to close at 11, weren't they? Like, unless it was a nightclub. A pub at like a normal pub
11
at
o'clock,
11. But if you knew like someone, you'd get the lock in.
So me and Tony had a mate, Ross, who owned a pub called the Foresters in Canning Town. And like that was known for we'd come out there 3 o'clock in the morning, like at the weekends and things like that. But it was
But we'd just be listening to that kind of music, wouldn't we? Like that's just.
Well, our mate Savile was the DJ. He would have on. We were all school with that. Like we'd have a bit of the Beatles on. We'd have a bit of Tina Turner on, the Jam. Like it was all that, wasn't it?
Bit of Lionel Richie.
Oh, brilliant! And the old women get up on the dance floor and give it a thing. The boys get up. He's like, and it feels a bit like to me, and that's why I'm so excited to go in. A bit like going back to that. It looked brilliant. There was no trouble. You didn't hear of any trouble anywhere. Everyone. No. My mate, a girl actually messaged me yesterday on Instagram. Well, I don't know, but she messaged me here and there, and she had just gone to Cardiff last night, and she said, just to let you know, you are like whatever you think it's going to be, times it by 1,000.
Yeah,
She said it was the best day I've had. She said we started so early in the morning, a bit like a football, like a World Cup final, like a England in the final sort of thing. And she said, like, people were all just hugging each other, like chatting to each other. She said it was really, really great atmosphere all round. So good to see them back.
It did seem amazing. It really did seem amazing.
But the going on to football, Club World Cup, Sam, Chelsea, semi-finalists.
I know it was a nice end to Friday watching that. We are one game away from PSG or Real Madrid. If we win.
Yeah, the Brazilian teams have been good, haven't they?
Have you seen how much the tickets are on sale for now?
No.
Yeah, they're paying you to go, I think.
You can buy a ticket for $13.
Really? I thought you was going to say astronomical.
No, $13. FIFA don't want an empty stadium for a semi-final. I mean, I was going to go. I was going to fly into New York tomorrow. Oh, sorry.
Which stadiums are that, Sam?
It's all at the MetLife now. Every game now.
So both semis and the final.
Yeah, you got the two semis and the final at the MetLife.
I was supposed to be there this week with my mate, but I couldn't go in the end because we're going to Vegas.
Yeah, I was going to go for the game on Tuesday, but then I was going to stay in New York if we won till Sunday. But I've got to be back here on Thursday for something, so it would have been too much slapping back and forth. So I just said if we get to the final, I'll fly in on Saturday night and watch it.
When's the final? Is it Sunday?
13th.
Yeah.
Sunday, yeah. So
yeah, and then I watched the PSG game.
Chelsea have got to fancy themselves.
Yeah,
you do get to the final. I mean, you know, if we get to the final, Chelsea would have made over $100 million £100 million from this tournament. It's insane,
crazy, that isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the numbers that are being thrown around, but I mean, it was good.
Great for Chelsea for next year. I've got to say, and it puts them maybe they've done business, obviously Chelsea, like a little bit of business, but they might do some more. It could put them into that extra level to go and actually challenge.
But you know, we're playing all right. We're playing all right at the moment. Towards the end of the season, I was, as we know, because we were doing the podcast. It was watching Chelsea was very frustrating.
You didn't like Maresco, did you?
I didn't like him, but I mean, he's turning it around a little bit. I mean, we're not.
They do need time as well, like especially with all them players. He's finding his squad. He's.
But he's getting. Yeah. But things that make me happy is when I see like stories like linking Madueke to Arsenal for 50-60 million quid.
Well, don't go into that. We're going to go into that after in our transfer update. But we the other game PSG.
Before we do, talking about Oasis real quick. What they did for Jota, amazing.
Oh,
wasn't that amazing?
Terrible news this week.
I didn't expect it. I mean, obviously, terrible news. I mean, that goes without saying. But what I think, was it you sent it to me? Somebody sent it to me on our WhatsApp.
It was on our groups, wasn't it? It was terrible.
Was it James?
Yeah.
And I was like, I just didn't expect it. Not because I think that, they wouldn't have done it because he's a Liverpool player and all that kind of stuff, but because I thought this is their first gig back after... What was it, 20 years, nearly 20 years?
Good show of respect, that. I really like that.
It was just unexpected. Liverpool, isn't it? It's not too far. It was a nice touch for them to do. There would have been probably a lot of scouts.
I mean, it's not that close. It's Cardiff's closer to London than it is to Liverpool. But
is it?
Yeah, because Cardiff's South Wales, isn't it? But
didn't know.
I mean, don't go measuring miles on me.
There's going to be people going, are you some sort of idiot?
But Cardiff's not close to Liverpool. But I just wasn't expecting it. And when I saw it on the WhatsApp group, I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then I put it into Twitter or whatever. And even when it came up, I'm assuming there wasn't a lot of people from Liverpool there because they're probably either going to Manchester or maybe even Wembley. But the whole crowd went nuts for it when it came up. And it was a really nice touch. And I know there are a few people from Liverpool on their band, in Noel Gallagher's separate band especially.
Listen, I just thought it was a nice touch. And I thought the even nicer touch, and again, class from Liverpool, was how they've paid out his contract.
Yeah.
straight away. Let's not worry about money. Let's just and they put it out there straight away. And however it's been done, who knows? But I just thought, let's not. What they've done is they got ahead of it before anyone said, "Oh, what are they going to pay out? They're going to do." And listen, there might be insurances, whatever.
I would have been amazed if they didn't, Sam. I would have been amazed if they didn't do that.
Do you know what? In this world where money's involved, you never know. And either way, it was beautiful. And again, hopefully it can help his family in time. But I do think that tragedy I actually think it will spark Liverpool to go on and win the title next year. I think it's almost a great thing for the players to say, let's do it for our mate. And
do you know what? I think listen, not that you're going to use a tragedy to think, oh, we're going to win the league now because of this. I think we could have won it
did it
anyway.
With Kobe, do you remember?
What's that?
Remember when Kobe died, the Lakers went on and won the league after that?
Yeah,
I do think it unites people a bit more, and you get together and you think,
you can't underestimate the how strong something is when a lot of people come together for the same thing. And
the footballing world has come together, which is lovely when you see the footballing world come together.
Have you've seen that drone footage of the tributes outside Anfield?
Do you know what is funny? Whenever I hear Walk Alone over something sad, it always makes me want to cry. It always brings a tear to my eye. It's weird. The only song that ever does it, actually, when I see it over tributes and things like that, because it's a song that lends itself to it because it's so slow. And it done it to me yesterday. I sat there and
builds up and builds
and it's just anyway. I'm putting that down because I don't want to get onto it too much because it's very sad. Thoughts with it, but we are moving on to our transfer special. What have we got this week? It looks like, as Sam touched on, Madueke to Arsenal. Now, I think there's two sides to this.
You don't like him, Sam? No.
Mate, he's just what he's done.
I like him.
I'll tell you what.
I do as well.
He's been in England. He's been in a couple of times now. England's best player on the pitch in the last couple of weeks, games.
He's too inconsistent and he's too full of himself. He's another one of those. He's too full of himself. He's 20. I think he's maybe 20, 24, 25.
Oh, okay, so he's not that young then.
It's not like he's 21.
Yeah.
But what he's done is he's realised that Pedro Neto is ahead of him in the team. He's seen Esteban in that game the other night, and he's thought, my time's up here. I'm not getting in ahead of this boy in the team.
No, maybe not. Maybe he just looks at it and thinks there's a spot in Arsenal to nail down in that left wing.
But is there? They've got Martinelli.
And listen, he wasn't that great last year. I think that's why they're looking to replace him.
I would still say Martinelli.
He probably looks at it and thinks, I'm going to a better team here.
I would say that Martinelli's better than Madueke. And, I mean, unless Arsenal have got plans...
But you haven't... What they've got Arsenal now is two. So one's injured. They've got another one that can come in. And also, what they're looking at Arsenal is Eze as well. Now, whether that might be Martinelli goes... If they bought in Eze and Madueke, that would be... Happen. I don't think so. Because it also...
They don't have the money to do it. They've spent that 50 million on Zubimendi. They've spent, call it another 10 on that Norgard. They're about to drop...
That was a weird signing, Norgard, from Brentford.
If you think about it...
Bit of backup, I suppose.
Well, they've had Partey and Jorginho leave, so they needed to fill two of the midfield roles. So that's Norgard's coming in to replace Jorginho, and Zubimendi's coming to replace Partey. The thing that... the interesting thing that... with Arsenal is this whole thing that's come out about Thomas Partey that Arsenal would have known about, carried on playing the guy, and now conveniently...
It was weird, that, wasn't it?
As soon as he's been charged, they've let him go on a free. It's...
Was his
contract... They haven't let him go. His contract expired, didn't it? But
yeah.
From what I've seen is there's kind of a... I don't know whether it's a conspiracy or just a lot of people putting two and two together and coming up with five, but as soon as Arsenal have obviously decided not to renew his contract, then he gets charged. But that would require a communication between CPS, the Crown Prosecution Service, to not charge him until he leaves.
Let's remember as well, he's not. I don't want to vilify someone before proven guilty either. So maybe Arsenal.
No, of course not. But what that goes without saying. But what I'm saying is that all these theories about, oh, isn't it a coincidence how he was only charged after his contract ended? I'm like, well, the CPS are not going to care about what his
Arsenal
contract
season.
is.
Yeah.
For me, it wasn't so much that. I mean, that's always going to happen. For me, it's like, what are Arsenal still doing? Like playing him when he's got all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
but say he gets found.
Look
like
what
Mendy.
happened to who was the City player?
Mendy.
Benjamin Mendy.
Look what happened
Poor
to
bastard
him.
Ruined his whole career.
Then got found not guilty, right?
Yeah.
He
even got kept
completely
on
not guilty.
remand for like 2 years, wasn't it?
Yeah. In fucking a prison in Liverpool, by the way. So I'm sure that wasn't fun for him, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it was.
So I don't think in these cases, listen, if he's guilty, I hope he gets like life. But I don't think these cases of sexual nature should ever be released until you are found innocent or guilty. Like, that's when it should come out. Because like this whole Diddy thing, going off track a bit here, it's come out now. He's now, 2 months ago, we thought this man was out terrorizing women everywhere, and it hasn't turned out to be as it seems.
Yeah,
so
he is a little,
but
he is
now
a little
he's
shithead, though, isn't he?
He's beat that woman up. We've seen it. We're
That's a fucking scumbag.
Right, getting back to transfers. I'm bringing us back.
Hang on,
track.
but wait, before we go on, and it's not really about football, but think of it like this, right? If I agree with you, by the way, Sam. So I'm not even disagreeing with you, because I think 99.9% of the time it shouldn't be. But if things would never have come out until somebody's convicted, we would know about Jimmy Savile in England.
True.
He was never convicted of anything.
That's
so
true.
I don't disagree with you, but I also don't think it's a black and white thing. I think.
Anyway, back to Madueke, if Arsenal want to pay 50 million for him, I will drive him there.
Okay. And then Arsenal looking as well, maybe today, could get Guy Carez.
They will do. I'm pretty sure that's
I'll tell you what, that's a bit of a game changer for Arsenal. Getting in 2 midfielders, a wide man, and a centre forward, which they badly needed. And this guy, Carez, I know he's been in the Premier League before, and he didn't do it at Brighton, but he was very young then. I can't see someone who has scored that amount of goals over 2 years can come to the Premier League and just be awful. Like, do I think he's going to score that amount of goals? No. If he comes in and scores 20 goals, that is a massive, massive boost for Arsenal.
I can give you plenty of examples of strikers that have scored
not that amount of goals.
Mateo Kezman.
Over how many years did Kezman do that amount? No one's done that amount of goals.
Kezman scored like maybe 100 goals in 110 games for PSV when we bought him, and then he scored like 1 in 50 for us. Josie.
I mean, but Chelsea is famously a graveyard for centre forwards after Drogba, isn't it?
And West Ham.
Well, you say that Diego Costa we had. I mean, we've
had true. That's fair.
I mean, like Chelsea. I mean, look, really Chelsea have more unluck than luck with strikers, but I mean, listen, that Arsenal have gone out. They've done what their fans have been crying for forever, but it has to work.
It has to work.
He's rolling the dice. Listen, if he gets the striker, can't do it. I think Liverpool are going to be really, really hard to beat. But let's be honest, Arsenal have been very close the last couple of years. The striker is a big part of it. I think the depth of their squad a little bit, and I think they're going to go hard this year.
I think Chelsea will as well.
They've got no choice.
So do I.
I think Chelsea finish above Man City this year. I do.
City seem to still have the same problems defensively against Al Hilal. They were still not great defensively. The right back
Chelsea's
defense
is still a bit leaky. That's the issue. Like Chelsea's defense is still a bit.
Arsenal's
leaky.
defense is so much better.
What date are we on? We're on July 7th.
Yeah.
So the season is going to finish in 9.5 months time, right? This is my first prediction. This is Pep's last year, and City don't finish in the top 4.
I would. Do you know what? It's sad because Newcastle haven't done any business at the minute. I thought they might push.
They're about to get Alanga for 55.
Yeah, if they get that done, that's a good bit of business from.
That's what I'm saying. I think from 1 to 7, maybe even 8.
Listen, Spurs could also be well in the mix this year, because if they go and get some, I don't mean for challenging for the title, but
no,
Spurs could be well in the mix of being up the league, not at the bottom of the league this year.
Yeah,
Manchester United
they're not going to
they
finish
will.
18th again, or what?
No.
Where did they finish?
17.
Was it 18?
Manchester United, I still don't know, because obviously they were looking at Guy Carez, and now they're not going to get him. Will Mbeumo be the man? Does he give you the confidence he could be the main man at a big club? Not.
You know what?
Me.
With Man United, I'm going to go back on what I said a few months ago when we were talking about the manager.
Amorim.
I thought he was the man for them, and since the players have blatantly taken the piss this summer out of him, I think now actually, they don't respect him either.
No,
like Garnacho,
they need obviously
with
that
big
fucking change.
Villa top with Rashford on the back of it. Well, it's
just a message.
Imagine how disrespectful is that.
I agree. I really
do. I actually don't think now that he's the right manager for him.
Over
that. What's that?
Simon Jordan did a good piece on that. He laid into all those guys.
Did he?
Yeah, I think it looks terrible. If I was a buying club from, I would steer well clear.
100% he would. Well, you know like his 18-year-old brother is his agent. Good
luck.
Is he really?
Good luck.
18-year-old brother is his agent, and he looks.
The final piece of disrespect from the transfer market is Spurs are trying to buy Mohamed Kudus from West Ham.
Yeah.
Clubs that vowed that they would never do business with each other.
Why?
West Ham.
What happened?
West Ham have made it blatantly obvious we need to sell before we buy, even though
here's
a
question for you. Who was the last player to transfer between West Ham and Tottenham?
Scott Parker?
I was thinking Freddie Canute.
No, well after that.
Yeah.
Why don't they like each other?
Because we hate Spurs. Spurs are our biggest rivals.
No, I know that, but I'm telling you right now, your owner does not give a shit about what you think about Spurs. But why does he not want to do business with Spurs?
That's exactly why. Because we
don't
do
fans?
business. Because of the fans. It's uproar. And it's like Arsenal, Spurs, they don't do
business. The man sold dildos like
Liverpool,
for a living.
Everton,
what are you talking about?
You are?
I said the man sold dildos for a living.
No, but that's what
he doesn't
I'm
care
saying.
About what people think. Clearly,
No, but that's the answer. So West Ham wouldn't do business with Spurs. That is, we've even said it out loud. But now we're saying, oh no, we need money now. So we're hoping Chelsea come in for Kudus. They did come in a bit.
That's not going to happen because we've now bought Jamie Gittens.
Exactly, that's what my thought was.
Do you know what, Sam? I actually think that's a good move. You know.
Yeah,
I've actually never seen him play.
I don't know Gittens well enough, so
I don't know him super well, but he's got, obviously he's English.
He had good stats for Dortmund, but so did Jadon Sancho.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. But how much did they pay for him?
55, I think.
Yeah.
So it's the same for Madueke. If he does better than Madueke, it's a better player. Yeah, so it's good. But the Kudus one, I actually think if this transfer happens, which I think it will, I think it'll be the spark that lights the touch paper at West Ham this season. Because after our kit release, has anyone seen West Ham's kit?
No, I didn't even know you had released that.
And it's so funny, all the fans are saying the same. Like I keep saying we're going down. West Ham fans, we're quite nailed on that we think it's the season that we're probably going to go down after hearing the Kudus, everything. But
let's be honest, Sam, you've been saying that for the last 10 years.
No,
you've been saying that since you came up last.
We haven't.
No, they've been on a few good. They've been on 3 or 4 good.
We've been on a really positive run. We've been on 18
that.
months now of relegation form.
Yeah.
Wait, let me. clarify. I'm not saying that they should have been going down. I'm saying West Ham fans.
No, we haven't. It's
in
wrong.
their optimistic outlook on life.
No, we haven't.
Have been saying at the start of every season.
We haven't.
Year.
You're wrong.
All right. When's the last time you didn't say that, Sam?
Well, they've been on 3 or 4 European runs the last.
Yeah, when we've been in Europe, we was in Europe for 3 years. We wouldn't think we were going down when we was in Europe, did we? We thought we was going to push on even further.
No, at the start of every season.
No. When we was like going into Europe, we were very, very optimistic, and now it's gone absolute terrible. But our kit launch
at the start of this season just gone. You guys were really spent 200 million. You didn't know every single one of them.
We thought even last season we were going to have a really, really good season, but then we didn't realise the players that we signed were actually garbage. And we made the oldest team.
Sam, you do understand that our WhatsApp group is 19 West Ham fans and 1 Liverpool fan, and I'm the Liverpool fan. So
yes, but you're wrong with.
I know what you all think about West Ham.
Last year we thought we were going to do well.
18 West Ham fans, 1 Arsenal fan, 1 Liverpool fan. And then there's somebody who's an Arsenal fan, a Chelsea fan, a West Ham fan.
Zach
and we both know who he is.
But West Ham's kit laws, just to finish this off, it was done in Hackney Marshes. It was like the lowest budget kit release you've ever seen. It was like the men's and women's team chucked in front of a goal with a net on it at Hackney Marshes with this kit that is up there with the worst. You know, like they've spent 0 time designing it. Let's put a claret thing and put a bit of blue on the arm, and it's got Boyle Sport across here. The new sponsor for only 1 year as well. And it's like, if ever you're going to get relegated, it's in this kit. It's
Who makes West Ham's kit these days?
Umbro. The last year, we're going New Balance next year. They'll be happy when they get us in the Prem.
Umbro kits look nice. You know what? On the subject of kits, Liverpool's first kit with Adidas, I think it's August 1st. I haven't bought a kit in my whole a top in my whole adult life. I'm pretty certain I'm going to buy one of those shirts because a lot of them are Adidas originals. What's that?
Our one last year was my favourite West Ham one ever, to be fair. I thought it was brilliant.
I mean, West Ham kits always look the same, don't you think?
It is a bit. I know what you mean. Chelsea's the same a little bit as well because we're just that one. Stripes always look a bit different and like.
Yeah. Do you know what? I never understood the third kit until I realised that it means that the manufacturer can go a little bit left field because usually the home kit and the away kit, you've got to stick to certain colours. You've got to make it consistent, really. But with the third kit, they can do something a little bit strange. I remember Liverpool's, I actually don't even know whether it was the third kit or just the away kit. Do you remember Liverpool's, and it was Adidas, the yellow and black?
I knew you were going to say that one.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah. And do you know what? At the time, we all hated it. And the reason why... Do you remember... What's that?
It was that purple one that you had under Rafa for a while, wasn't there?
Yeah, but this is way before Rafa. This is like Roy Evans' era. But this yellow and black
that was like when John Barnes and Collymore were wearing it.
Yeah. Well, maybe not Barnes, but I think definitely Collymore. Definitely Robbie Fowler. Robbie Fowler scored a million goals in that kit. But do you ever remember Neto? The shop Neto.
Oh yeah, we didn't have them in wealthy areas.
Well,
it was a northern thing, Neto.
We had them in Bootle. And all if you got that kit because it was yellow, the logo for Neto was yellow and black. Then if you had that kit and you went into school and played like on PE or whatever, then everyone would say, "Oh, your mum shops at Netto, your mom goes to Netto."
I think Netto used to get their kit. Netto was basically funded by the South. It was like what we would give away, so to go up there to give to the North.
Netto was the Fed food banks,
the donation store.
Right, we're moving on. We're going into greatest manager rivalries of the Premier League era. Because I was looking back on some this week, and there has been some absolute blinders. Like some of the managers we've had, we don't really get it. We haven't had it for a while because Pep and Klopp were very friendly to each other. Yeah. So you didn't really ever get that rivalry with them, did you?
It was the last thing. The last one was probably Mourinho and Pep.
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah, because obviously they notoriously don't.
Well,
but
that was at Barcelona, though, right? They didn't have a big
Man United, Man City.
And Man United, Man
no,
City
I know
as
that,
well.
But what I'm
Chelsea,
saying
Man
is they
City.
never. It wasn't like super intense for them too in the
We
Premier
haven't had
League.
one for a while.
Conte Mourinho was a good one.
Remember who was Conte?
Conte Mourinho. They hated each other.
No. Who did Conte pull the? Oh no, it was Thomas Tuchel. Remember Thomas Tuchel pulled his arm? Yeah, that was good. That I like that he did that.
But the one that made me think of it to start was the Fergie Keegan, which is probably one of the most famous breakdowns of the Premier League era.
Yeah.
So to give you context, Newcastle were flying.
What year would have that been?
95, 96.
95, 96, I think it was.
Yeah.
And Newcastle were flying high at the top of the league. Looked like they were going to win it for the first time with this unbelievable brand of football from Kenny Keegan. With the Streets Won't Forget player, Asprilla up front, and David Ginola. And they beat Man United 5-0 that year, didn't they? Philippe Albert with that chip.
Did they?
Gabby's ass got that chip, didn't he?
No, Philippe Albert.
Philippe Albert.
That was, fuck's sake, man. You just ruined my Streets Won't Forget player.
Oh,
that was my Streets Won't Forget player. Philippe Albert.
There you go. Well, we'll go on to that later.
Now I've got to think of someone else.
And then obviously Man United started turning the screw, and Fergie turned up the mind games so much, saying, I think it was Nottingham Forest, wasn't it? He was saying that Nottingham Forest were going to roll over from, because I always remember him saying, when you talk about a man like Stuart Pearce like that, and he went mad. And then it was the famous line, I'd love it if we beat them. And then
United had to go to Middlesbrough or something like that, didn't they?
It was sad because I don't know why Stuart Pearce was involved in it, because he does talk about Stuart Pearce, doesn't he? When you talk a man about Stuart Pearce like that, I've done it with him now. He was so angry, wasn't he, Keegan?
Yeah, I would love it if we beat them.
It's probably one of the greatest moments of Premier League history.
Yeah.
That and having Keegan
it's definitely one of the most iconic, isn't it?
At the 4-3 Newcastle game with Keegan just when Collymore scores the fourth.
It's brilliant. I mean, that was up there with one of the greatest Premier League games of all time.
The greatest. Because it really did. That was Newcastle done then, wasn't it? It was like
that was what made that was like really. I mean, people obviously watched the Premier League at the time, but then when they had Sky Sports had that game on and it was on live TV, that was like one of the things that helped catapult the Premier League up.
Yeah.
And Fergie, to be fair to him, was box office at it, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Who?
Alex Ferguson. He was box office for the mind.
Yeah.
He was Mr. Mind Game, wasn't he? He was always digging at something, always having a go at someone, the referees, this, that, the managers. Yeah. He always tried to get that rivalry that he played them like a fiddle, and then sort of others have sort of followed suit. We had Mourinho versus Wenger for a while.
That was another one.
That was a good one, wasn't it? What was it you said, Sam?
Specialist at failure.
Specialist of failure. That was a lippy, because Arsene Wenger always seemed quite a nice fella, actually.
I know that really got under Wenger's skin, that one. I mean,
and a voyeur as well. Was it who?
The voyeur was the one I remember. Yeah.
Was that Mourinho who called him the voyeur?
That was Mourinho calling it about Wenger,
saying he's like looking on at titles like being won.
The window into our training ground.
He's always looking through the window at somebody else.
A voyeur, like a little peeping Tom. Like it was so out of order, wasn't it? And then you had, I suppose, Rafa as well. Rafa had it with Mourinho and Fergie.
And Ferguson, yeah.
And then you had a big rivalry with Chelsea and Liverpool.
By the way, you know who else Rafa had it with? Sam Allardyce.
Yes.
He used to, but do you know what? Wenger had it with Sam Allardyce as well.
Yeah.
Wenger didn't like Allardyce.
First,
used to beat them all the time. And
yeah, exactly. Well,
that was the same with Mourinho as well. Mourinho didn't like Rafa because Liverpool used to get under our skin. We would turn up at the league and trounce you at Anfield, trounce you at Stamford Bridge, but then the Champions League would come along and we just couldn't do it against you.
Well, that was the famous rivalry. How many games did you play in the Champions League? Was it 2?
No, more than that. I think over the space of
play each other.
Yeah, I think we played each other a good 4 or 5 times in the Champions League over.
Well, obviously there would be 2
with home and away. You mean?
Yeah.
But there was the 040. I can tell you when there was the 0405 season when the ghost goal happened. The ghost goal,
which is when Liverpool went on to win.
By the way, it wasn't a ghost goal.
I mean, it didn't go in, but you would have got.
It was a goal.
Check would have been sent off. It never went over the line. I think we can all admit that. It was
Luis Garcia, wasn't it?
But we would have been down to 10
Garcia,
men.
yeah.
Who was the player that cleared it? Was it Gallas?
Gallas, yeah.
Good memory, Sam. I don't know how I remembered that.
So
Luis Garcia.
That was that, and then we actually got you in the league stage the next year. That was when they got rid of all the seedings for one season, and we played each other in the league. And I think it was we beat you at Stamford Bridge in the group stage. That was when Drogba scored that one of those really good goals against you, like that.
Where he just did Carragher again.
Yeah, and then I can't remember what the away game at Anfield was, and then we had that unbelievable series with you when we won 7-5. Do you remember that one when it was like 4-4?
7-5.
Yeah.
What year was it though? No, it wasn't 7-5 in one game, Sam.
No, I'm saying total over the 2 legs.
No, I know. I'm saying Sam thinks it was 7-5. I'm saying it wasn't.
We beat you. It was 4-4. It was 4-4 at Stamford Bridge, and we beat you 3-1 at Anfield that night. Then there was.
So that would have been what year would have that been then, Sam? Because
that would have been 08-09. But before that, you also beat us on penalty. You also beat us on penalties.
On 07, was it?
06-07, when you got to the final and lost against AC Milan, you beat us
in Athens, I think.
Yeah. So there was there was Chelsea-Liverpool was like a.
It was a bizarre thing where we didn't just play each other all the time in the Champions League. We also kept drawing each other in the cups as well.
Yeah, I remember beating you in the cup, and then what's it called? When Andy Carroll, when Czech pulled off probably the greatest save I've ever seen.
Liverpool did Liverpool win that game?
No, Chelsea won it.
I always think Liverpool won that game for some reason.
It's bizarre because I remember when I was a kid.
And we won the Champions League that year as well.
I remember when I was a kid liking Chelsea growing up because the Dennis Wise era, do you know what? It's not even a player.
No, I didn't.
It's the Cause era.
Yeah.
You know, when they had Cause. Mm-hmm. And I like Chelsea, me dad. And the only reason I like Chelsea is because me dad and one of his mates were like, yeah, Chelsea. We like, they basically told me we all like Chelsea. Huh. And then as soon as Benitez and Mourinho got in, we all hated Chelsea.
Yeah.
And Chelsea are actually the only team that I think I've ever loved but grew to hate. Like, not loved, liked and grew to hate. I've always liked Spurs. And I know that's a terrible thing to say to you two people, but I've always liked Spurs, and I've never disliked Spurs. I still like Spurs.
I suppose they've never been. You wouldn't, if you were from the north, you wouldn't hate Spurs because they've never been a threat to you as footballing and a fan.
But with Spurs, though, if they're not a direct rival, you've got to think of like Spurs at Huddle.
No, exactly. I can completely understand that.
They were just but
our difference is we went to school with Spurs fans. That's why we don't like Spurs.
Exactly right. Yeah, like why would you would never hate Everton? Right?
Exactly that. I like Everton. Exactly that. I like Everton.
Yeah. I like Everton.
Yeah, it's because they're no threat to me. I don't meet Everton fans. I like Everton. I think they're a great club. But in actual fact, I look at them and go, they're pretty similar to West Ham. It's same. But our last rivalry before we'll move on was obviously Fergie versus Wenger. And
I think that was the best one,
It was because to set the stage, Arsenal bought in Wenger in 95, 96, 97. It was around that time.
It was 96, 97, yeah.
And Arsene Wenger was a complete unknown. He'd managed at Monaco, then he went off to Japan.
Grampus 8.
Grandpa State, who Gary Lineker famously paid for.
Did he?
Yeah, that's where he finished his career. And so they brought in this manager, which was, when you think about that, how mad that was then to bring him in as
George Graham, didn't they?
No, Bruce Rioch came in to replace Bruce Rioch. They had Bruce Rioch for a year, who done terribly, and then to bring in Arsene Wenger, which is like, what the hell were they doing? And Fergie just didn't have any respect for him, but then he brought in obviously the French players in Vieira, Petit, Gramondi, Anelka. And he rattled Fergie because obviously no one expected Arsenal to be challenging, but they went on. Did they win the league in the first year or was it his second year thing? I think I don't know if he came in midway through the season, Wenger, actually.
They won it in their first year, didn't they, under Wenger?
No, I don't think they did.
Wait, then we got a special guest just walking in. Come in. It's Minnie Puff. This is my daughter Minnie. I think she wants to do something. And then Petra, come in then, Minnie, because we're in a conversation. Come and sit next to me. She wants to be on a podcast, don't you? Can you say hello to everyone?
Hi, Minnie.
Yeah.
What's happening, Min?
We're talking about football. Who's your football team?
West Ham.
Yes, come on, you Irons. Right, and what did you want to do? You wanted to sing a song?
Who's your second favourite Mini? It's Liverpool, yeah?
No.
Only West Ham, isn't it?
She breaks my heart.
So she's put on a pretty bow because she wants to sing a song. So sorry to distract footballing rivalries here. But Minnie, what song do you want to sing?
Forever Blown Bubbles.
Okay. Can you start us off? Do you want me to help you? Go on then.
Forever blowing bubbles.
Pretty bubbles
in the air. I fly so high, they reach the sky.
And like
my dreams, they
and I fortunes
always
hiding. I
looked everywhere.
I'm
Forever blowing bubbles.
pretty
Bubbles in the air.
United. And then,
Beautiful.
come on, you
Very
Irons.
good. Very good.
Beautiful, Mini.
Very
Well done,
good.
Minnie. Do you want to stay with us or do you want to go?
I want to stay.
You stay, Con, and you sit down. Right. So there we go. Sorry about that, everyone back at home. But Minnie just
Don't
needed
be
to do
sorry. I mean, you gave them a nice song.
She's a big West Ham fan, aren't you? And the so yeah, Fergie. Sorry, we were talking about Fergie and Wenger, and they had so many Barneys, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They did. Yeah, that I mean, for me,
that era, they hated each other. Them two.
Those two were there was no bigger rivalry, was there?
No.
Ever.
No.
They literally.
Than those two.
I think it probably
They
came
disliked
to a
each
head.
other on a personal level.
Yeah, and the teams all hated each other, didn't they? They were literally.
Dan, do you remember when we were watching the Champions League final and Fabregas told us about the Pizzagate story?
Yeah, it was brilliant. Wasn't it?
And that's the first time I've ever. Obviously, he was the one who did it. But so, like, you know, you
But he
couldn't
did
get the
say
story
that he
from
didn't
anybody
mean
better
to
than
hit
him.
Sir Alex Ferguson, didn't he?
Yeah,
Like,
he just threw it.
He
said
I
he
just threw it.
Yeah.
He actually explained because obviously that their rivalry probably came to a head on that game, which was in the Invincibles era, wasn't it? And Man
Correct.
United drew 0-0 with them. Van Nistelrooy got the penalty, and then Keane
Was that
missed
the Invincibles
penalty.
year
The
that happened?
Pizzagate fight was when they beat them, when they ended the 49 game run.
Yeah, I think it
Was
was.
it?
the
I
I
start
thought it
of
was
the next
0-0 that
season.
game.
No, that was. Well, I don't think
They
Fabregas-
did.
the team had.
Did. Bye, Minnie. They did end the thing, but I think the Pizzagate was 0-0 the game.
I could have sworn.
I mean, my
Someone
memory, I
Google
don't
it,
even
Amrit.
remember what I
Put
had for
Pizzagate.
breakfast.
What was the score on Pizzagate? But so Cesc was telling us that he said like Man United, like there was this big commotion, and he tells it as there was so many big guys around that time. Like he said, like Rio Ferdinand, Sol Campbell. He's 2-0 on Pizzagate. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You were right. I don't know why. I thought it was 0-0 that game.
Yeah, it was.
Do you know? I think it was the
Arsenal
actual.
so pissed.
What's
You
that,
what?
Sam?
So that's why Arsenal was so upset. Because they've lost their run.
Because it was the instigator on the pitch.
It was
Van
year after
Nistelrooy,
Invincibles, wasn't it? When they
that wasn't that game. The instigator was Rooney. Do you not remember? Rooney dived for the penalty, and Sol Campbell wanted to kill him.
But it was a nasty time, that one.
He said that on the overlap, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And so then
when you look at it, VAR nowadays would have overturned that.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Very,
100%.
very.
And he did dive. What did he say? He dived like a salmon or something like that.
Yeah.
But he said it just all went off in the change rooms after. He said it was happening in a tunnel. Then they broke down the door. I think Arsenal were celebrating or something, and they told them to. No, was Pizzagate that game?
Yeah.
I don't know, mate, because you know what? I was just thinking when you were saying that, was Pizzagate the same game where Roy Keane's in the tunnel and he's having a go?
No, that wasn't. No.
But that's what I'm saying. I think why it's so easily confused is because there were so many incidents.
There was so many nigglers
between those teams. There were so many.
They called it.
That's what made the Premier League.
Is that the funniest thing? Is it's actually got its own Wikipedia page. They call it Battle of the Buffet.
Battle of the Buffet. That's it.
Really?
That was the.
Yeah.
When was it? The Battle of the Buffet. Yeah, it scored 2-0.
And it basically says that the reason why was many Arsenal fans were disgruntled. They believed Rooney had dived and the penalty should not have been given.
He definitely dived.
Yeah,
because it said they come through the door, and he said he picked up this pizza and just lobbed it. But he said as he done it, Alex Ferguson walked into the room and it just kind of hit him. And he said I just sat down and thought, oh my God. He said, and he went purple, was so mad. You can imagine how mad he went.
Yeah.
But he said then you had Roy Keane and all these people sniffing for blood. He said just sitting there. You think he's only small sense. So he was thinking, but as a blinder, it must have been a blinder to do it.
Do you know what though? It must have been when you're in school. And you're in high school or whatever, and you do something, and it must have been it must have been like throwing something across the room, throwing a piece of pizza across the room, and all of a sudden the head teacher walks in and it slaps him on the face, and you're like, "Fuck's sake!"
It's brilliant, isn't it? But it's funny that I remember loads of games, but as you say, there was so many in that period with Arsenal and Man United that it's kind of they've all gone into one. They literally hated each other for a long time.
Yeah.
Them clubs. And the managers really hated each other because obviously Wenger came in and schooled Fergie for a couple of years. They won the double.
Yeah.
And then obviously Fergie had to go again and he did it and it just and then he put him in his place in the end and kind of.
But you know what though? I'm sure now they don't hate each other, but at the time.
No, I think they actually had. I think they were both scared of each other, actually, because they knew how good each other was.
What I think, I'm sure there was a strong dislike for each other or whatever, but at the time, if you look back, I would credit Wenger for making Ferguson a better manager.
100%. And making the Premier League a much better league. Because Wenger was the catalyst of when players started to be more professional.
Of course,
not drinking, eating right. He was big on that, wasn't he? He was huge.
Fergie was like, who the hell's this guy from Japan that's come in? And he's
he's managed in
Japan down and all the shit food down, and he's traded. Fergie was like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah. Who do you think he is?
Meanwhile, he's got Steve Bruce and fucking
Pallister,
Brian Robson on the air every weekend, and so I think he helped evolve. The Wenger, I still think, even though he's definitely not the most successful, Ferguson is in the Premier League era, at least. I think Wenger is the most influential manager on the modern Premier League football. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He changed it. By the way, I know he was nowhere near as successful, but him and Houllier, both French, came in and were
Houllier.
Well, no. Listen, I mean, you're taking that on face value, Sam. What I'm saying is, Houllier took Liverpool from the old boot room kind of
Yeah, he
mentality,
changed it.
You went from
like
you
this,
went from the
the
Spice,
boys'
yeah,
club
you went from the Spice
mentality.
Boys, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not saying that he was as influential as Wenger, because he wasn't. But he was very, very influential. And these European managers who came in and said, "Boys, you can't be going out fucking 3 nights a week getting walloped in the pub. Like, you can't be doing it. And if you're gonna do it, then go and play for West Ham."
Exactly. Right, we're finishing there, and we are moving into our quiz where Tony is leading 1-0.
I would say I'm the champion, but
Right,
you can
we're going
say
to
I'm
clear up. Are we just shouting the name?
No, well, I don't know.
You're putting your hand.
What are you being? You can't be the host and ask for the rules.
The
Like,
last time
what
you
do
said
want?
put your hands up, I put my hands up and Tony just shouted out.
He's
You're
right.
shouting the name. Whoever
is
shouts
right.
the name first.
I did just shout out last
And
time.
play along at home as well. When you get it, shout out. I want to
But wait, but putting the hand up, unless you're actually
shout out
looking
the
at
name of the
screen,
player.
it's not going to make any difference.
Shout your name of the player, and whoever says it
Okay.
first wins.
Okay.
Right, you ready? First one. I played for Nottingham Forest, Spurs, Manchester United, back to Spurs.
Sheringham.
Yes, I can't believe it took you that long.
Yeah.
Who'd you say?
Teddy Sheringham.
Teddy Sheringham.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Started. I
Okay.
think he started at Millwall. I think Teddy Sheringham, but not in the Premier League. Nottingham Forest. It's funny because I still remember he's one of like the first goal scorers of the Premier League era. I think.
Yeah, he was. Him and Brian Dean.
Brian Dean was the first, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Right. This one's a bit harder. Ready?
Yeah.
I only ever played for Arsenal in the Premier League era, but started my career at Crewe before moving to Villa. I then played in Italy for Bari,
Yeah. Fucking hell.
Juventus, and
He's a midfield
Sampdoria.
player.
I played for
David
England.
Platt.
Yes.
Fuck's sake, Sam.
I didn't realise he only ever played for Arsenal in the Premier League era.
Yeah, because who did he play for before? Because he didn't go
Crewe
from
and
Crewe to Arsenal.
Villa, I just told you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And do you know what? It's funny. It shows where Platt's that little bit older than me.
Yeah.
I remember him at Sampdoria. I never knew he went to Bari first.
I didn't know
Bari?
that.
I don't remember him playing for
kicked it in my head
Juventus.
to me, Sampdoria.
Sampdoria is, I remember, because then he became a player manager for Sampdoria, I think, or a manager for Sampdoria. But yeah, he was one of the first ones that went, wasn't he, Platt?
Mm-hmm.
He was the so yeah, Sam, here we go. Last one.
Wait, all right. So Sam's already won. What are we wasting
He's
time
already
for?
won, but we're doing the last one
We're going for the hat trick.
for the people at home. I played for Manchester United for 8 years as a left winger, right winger. What?
Kunchelskis?
No.
No.
A left back and a
Wait,
right back.
hang on. Sam's out now.
Okay. Well, let's just carry on, right? Do you want me to start again?
Wait, is this the rules or no?
Just carry on. Whoever
I'll
gets
give you
it.
I'll give you the next shout, Tone, before I shout my next
Thank
name.
you.
Give
Right.
it a chance.
Played for Man United for 8 years as a left winger, a right winger, a left and right back. I moved to Leeds in 96,
I know it is.
and I also played for Bradford in the Premier League.
LS. Tone.
Yes. Sam's got
Please
it.
fuck off. I've had enough of this shit.
Lee
I have no
Sharp.
idea.
Lee Sharp.
Okay, fair enough. All
Well,
right.
it was a good couple there.
There we go.
Yeah.
My brain was switched on this morning.
Yeah, it was switched on. To be honest, there was a couple of good ones. They had a Platt one.
I would, to be fair, that was a clean sweep.
Yeah, it was a
Good
clean one
on
this
you.
week.
I don't like it, but good on you.
Okay, that is us for this week. We will see you all again next week. Make sure you hit subscribe.
Okay.
Give us a follow, comment.
That streaks, won't forget, thing
Oh.
lasted long, didn't it?
Oh, no, sorry. You're right. Well done. I'm not looking at me. Before we finish here, we've got our Streets Won't Forget players. Right.
Let's
Tony, you said yours earlier.
Because I've got something I need to be doing. Let's go
Right.
quick.
We'll run through them quick. Tony, you said yours earlier. Philip Albert. We went through him earlier.
That was my one. Yeah.
An amazing tash as well.
Yeah. And
he did,
didn't he?
I would say was he the first Belgian to play in the Premier League, do you think?
Good shout.
I can't think of anyone else.
Could be.
Good
before
shout.
him, at least. Yeah.
Who you got, Sam?
Mine was Gianfranco Zola.
Oh, well, the street will never forget Zola.
That's a bit outside. Streets won't forget. I'm not even giving that because he's a Premier League legend.
Listen, I would say, by the way, Zola is in a shout of the best Premier League import ever.
Yeah. So that is not a streets won't forget. So we are disrespecting that one. You're out. I have gone Ravel Morrison at West Ham. That season he had for us. Oh my God!
Ravel Morrison, who played for Man United.
Yeah, he came to West Ham, didn't he?
You
ask people at West Ham, streets won't forget. Ravel Morrison is one of our top players.
He was in the Championship, yeah?
No, in the Premier League. He scored that goal from Spurs where he took it from the halfway line around all the players and in. He was unbelievable. He was a strong shout to get in the Euros.
To be the best player, one of the best ever, didn't he?
He was. He said he was the most talented player he'd ever worked with, I think.
Yeah. All of them said it there. He was so unfortunate at West Ham. He just couldn't knuckle down. He's had a career who's all over the place, been out all over the world now.
Is he still in Italy now? Is he?
No,
he's
actually got no club. I actually heard a thing with him the other day. He's got no club right now. He wants to get back in the Championship. He was out in Dubai, I think, playing in the lower league.
Something like that, or Hong Kong.
Thailand. He's been to Mexico. He's been all over the world. Lazio, West Ham let him go to. But he was unbelievable for us. Like, and then he went to, I think, QPR.
I used to live around Manchester around about the time when he was playing for United. And do you remember Anderson?
Yeah.
Remember Anderson, who played for Man United? And then there was this other Portuguese player as well.
Nani.
Who?
For United?
Yeah. Oh, the big guy.
No, it wasn't Nani.
No. Bebe.
Yeah, it may be him. But anyway, I used to go out. This is when I was a kid. This is like when I was like in my early 20s. And I used to go out in Manchester a lot. And by the way, separate story, I got kicked out of a Manchester United Christmas party once. But when I used to go out in Manchester, those lads, like, I remember that, I remember, like, they used to, you'd know they were there because they'd be driving ridiculous cars when nobody else would. They were out 4 or 5 nights a week, those boys. That's why that's why Ferguson would have obviously kicked them out.
Fergie said he wanted to keep him. He just couldn't control him. He just said he had to go somewhere else to be away from his friends. I think he was involved in gangs, things like that. And
I think so, because he was from Manchester as well, wasn't he? So he was still around. I don't know whether it's too dissimilar to Marcus Rashford. I don't know. But he's obviously...
No, I think Ravel Morrison was... Because he got done for intimidating a witness. That's what he got. That was what was the big thing.
Oh, did he really? I didn't know that.
And he got done for intimidating a witness. I think Rashford was doing intimidating rice puddings. But right, we're finishing up there. Ravel Morrison, I'd love you back at West Ham. You was unbelievable. Right, I'm off to go and take the kids shopping now. So I've got to go and get a pageant dress for Minnie because she wants to do a beauty pageant, which is like, oh my God. So back to Dad now.
Enjoy.
I ain't got any work to do because there's nothing going on at the minute. So
see you, boys.
All right, boys.
See you all later.